Welcome back to the second race of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And the second race is about to start very shortly. But right now the boys and girls are handing out some signed autographs to their fans. And there has been a lot going on already this morning. And I'm just jumping over to Steffen Faas because his truck really had some damages going on this morning already. So are your mechanics still fixing everything for race number 2 right now?
Ja, wir sind jetzt gerade wieder dabei, komplett alles zusammenzuschrauben. Ja, aber ich kann doch auch jetzt Deutsch antworten. Ja, also, sorry.
He's very ashamed of speaking English, so he's doing this in German, but I will translate for you in a second. It's just, I hope you will not be like this on the racetrack in a second.
Nein.
So, is your truck ready to race? Your truck is already ready to race, or no?
Also ich weiß ja nicht, natürlich ist unser Auto fertig, genauso wie im Steffen seine auch. Also auf Englisch, ja. For sure my truck is ready, the truck from Steffen. I think it's ready for the race and yeah, I hope we have a good race together and then it's fine.
You really had a lot of contact going on at race number 1 starting out. So do you have another plan maybe how to start out right now for race number 2?
Ja, ich versuche mich immer rauszuhalten aus dem Ganzen und ich habe auch im ersten Rennen probiert, mich rauszuhalten, aber es hat nicht ganz funktioniert. Leider wurde ich von hinten getroffen und ich werde jetzt im nächsten Rennen wieder darauf achten und mich überall rauszuhalten.
Okay, so he always tries to keep out of damages and of course like getting pushed too heavily, but he hopes that race number 2 will be better. But talking a lot, we will have some insights for you about what has been going on actually on race number 1. Check it out.
Yes, indeed, the first race of the day, a little bit uniform as I described it at the front, with things sticking to their usual plan, with Norbert Kish at the front of the field, Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete chasing him all the way, but a penalty for Jochen Hahn would see him drop to third. However, there was a lot of excitement before the race, all the fans returning after the summer break, waiting for the action to get underway, teams certainly in anticipation of a good start as well. And it would be Norbert Kish leading Jochen Hahn from the very front of the grid, with Antonio Albacete and Jamie Anderson behind. There was a little bit of contact into the first couple of corners, but from there everyone kept it nice and tidy and the little duets and battles began to rage. Norbert Kish opened up a gap at the front over Jochen Hahn, who unfortunately had a 5-second penalty due to the starting procedure being out of position. That would drop him to third behind Antonio Albacete, but Norby led from the front and did a great job as ever on the way to his 5th championship title, with Steffen Faas, as we just heard there from him, really getting involved in a battle with Mark Taylor and trying everything he could to get in front of the Englishman. There was bits and bodywork all over the circuit by the end, but it wasn't a necessarily messy race in any respect, with a lot more battling going on down the order. Norby did everything he could though at the front of the field and opened up a healthy advantage in the number 1 Revace Racing Baloo, and eventually took his 11th race victory of the season over Antonio Albacete and Jochen Hahn. Jamie Anderson missed out on the podium by just 25 thousandths of a second, but he'll be hoping for more in the second race of the day, which will be coming up in just a few moments' time. There is Javier Martin on the front of the grid near the Iveco S-Way. There's also Fabian Calvet there as well, overlooking proceedings at the moment. But there is Steffi Halm, who will be starting on the front row of the grid. She's going to be on the outside line in second position in truck number 44, because it is the home driver, Czech Adam Lachko, starting on pole position in his first weekend back in the championship. And he's going to be looking forward to, hopefully, some great success from that pole position. My name is Chaz Draycott. It's great to be back once again, commentating remotely this weekend. I'm back in the UK for this one with my colleagues Joachim Eberts and Fonzie Sebrian, commentating on the German and Spanish live streams, respectively. There is Adam Lachko making his way down the middle of the grid there in the gorgeous Goodyear Racing Freightliner. Great to see that shape of truck back in the championship with the sort of longer nose on it. It's a very traditional racing shape, actually, for racing trucks. A lot of the old super racing trucks, as they were known, used to be that sort of configuration and that shape. As right now, Lucas Hahn makes his way down to the grid. He's going to line up in third position, just in front of Sasha Lenz. Sasha is a potential favourite for a race victory here because he's starting a couple of positions ahead of the trio that he's normally battling with, which is Jochen Hahn, Antonio Albacete and Norbert Kish. Jamie Anderson starting up there as well, just amongst all of those guys. You can see him on the left-hand side of your shot there, actually, the black and blue number 33. He's starting alongside Jochen Hahn. And we're going to go back down onto the grid and have a chat with Lena.
Oh yes, and the truck of Jamie Anderson, and I was like, I really want to show you what racing stitches look like. This is like, yeah, the leftover from the start of this morning, and you can tell there has been quite a contact going on in between these trucks. And of course I also want to ask Jamie himself what he thinks about like fighting through so much. Look at him, he's not only had on the right side contact, also the other side really is leaking some, let's say, polish, maybe a little more than that. And I can only hope for Maha. See, that's the British guys. Can you tell he's driving on the other side? Of course. Well, what did I expect? So I'm like, there's no driver in there, what's going on? So that's the biggest laugh of all, always going to the wrong side, to the wrong driver's side. Hey, I was just showing the stitches on your truck. Are you planning on more contact sports right now, or maybe a little less?
No, we never plan on the contact sports, and I suppose in the first race, for once it wasn't our fault, you know, but a little bit of rubbing does not go amiss. He's always good, he's good for the fans, and you know, we're all so close against the time, and the big thing is if we need that every little inch, you know.
And Most is quite a tight racetrack, I heard. Some people are like struggling to overtake. Are you having the same feelings, like fast and tight, right?
Yeah, no, I think in the previous race we just didn't have the pace to, you know, even threaten Antonio. But other than that, no, I think he's no tighter than anywhere else. I think it's a good circuit. The problem is it's just quite fast. So you have to be brave in making a move.
All right, so let's see you in a brave race. Good luck to you. And back to Chess, our second English guy. I guess you're driving on the right side as well, aren't you?
I absolutely am, yes. I was actually having a debate with my friend the other day about which would be better, because we play a lot of the popular PC game Euro Truck Simulator 2, and we often debate whether it's better to be on the right or the left side, because you can configure your trucks within that to be right-hand drive or left-hand drive. I often say that left-hand drive is actually the better way to do it. Whenever I've been away in Europe at certain events and driving and so on, it just does seem a bit more, I don't know why, but it just seems to make more sense either way. We live with what we've got, and over here in the UK we are some of the odd ones out, apparently, that drive on the right-hand side. But that does still catch people out with Jamie Anderson's truck, and there can be advantages and disadvantages to that at certain circuits. I mean, if you look at turn 13 here at Autodrom Most, it is a right-hand kink. If you're on the right-hand side of the truck, you're right above where you can clip that apex at high speed. So it's definitely got its advantages in certain corners like that. You could argue that, yes, Chaz, for right-handers it'll be working and for left-handers it wouldn't, and there's a lot more left-hand trucks, but it depends on the type of corner where you need to apply that. So it's interesting to see if there's any difference down there at turn 13 this weekend with Jamie. It'd be hard to find out, but still, that's something that he will know and the team will know, and we might not. I've been told that in just a second, though, we're going to hand over and just take a second to transition into our TV broadcast for our international TV viewers from all around the world, and I will go quiet in just a few moments' time. But as you see, mixed conditions still here at Most. It could be sunny all race, it could have a bit of rain. You never really know. But what we're going to do now is just go silent for a second and hand over to our international TV viewers, who Lena will welcome in just a second.
Welcome back to Most in Czech Republic. Welcome back everyone who loves truck racing. My name is Lena Vendemars and I'm welcoming you back to the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. The second race of this day is about to start very soon. The first race, you might have seen it, hopefully, has been really a plus and really exciting. There has been a lot of fighting going on and someone has been really lucky in this first race. His name is Antonio Albacete, the Spanish guy, always fast, always in the front, and he was lucky enough to, let's say, Jochen Hahn got a punishment to push up from third place to second place because Jochen got a little punishment of 5 seconds. So are you happy about your second place and what's your aim for this race? Because I can tell none of you guys and girls are like giving up or handing in, like everyone is really with the shoulders out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very happy with the second place, you know, so it's a lot of points for us. And now, I mean, I will try to do my best, but as you said, it's going to be a very close race. We're going to fight quite a lot. So I will try to bring the track in one piece, if it's possible, and also with some points.
All right, so let's see your race. I can see your smiling eyes, so I know you will have a lot of fun. I'm also like to welcome our commentators, Chess, Jochen, and of course our Spanish commentator, who all will be there for you in different languages today. So back to Chess for now, our commentator on this channel, and let's hope for a really fun and not too rocky race right now.
Thanks very much, Lena. Yes, indeed. Hello, everybody. Chaz Draycott here, commentating on the English live stream for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. I'm commentating remotely this weekend and for the Zolder weekend as well, but I'll be back on site for Le Mans and Jarama towards the end of the season. It's great to be back after the summer break and our 5th race meeting of the championship. We now move into the second half of the season here at Autodrom Most, and it's one of my favourite circuits on the calendar. I really hope to visit this circuit one day. The championship often has its pre-season testing taking place out there in Czechia, which I most certainly will try and head to for next season. But the drivers all love this place because it's got a lot of different challenges in many different elements for the trucks. There's really heavy braking zones, there's slow speed corners and quick weight transfer changes of direction, but there's also high speed corners as well, and a lot of them towards the latter part of the lap. Even, to be fair, if you go down towards turn 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, where there's a load of chicanes and hairpins, it's a very technical track. Someone that's very good at it, though, is Norbert Kish, and he's going to have a chat with Lena.
Oh, hell yeah, and he's not starting out in front because they were flipping right now, so you're on 8th position. Knowing you might be first in quite a couple of seconds. Are you planning on it?
No, not really. It's on some circuits it's possible, like the Slovakia ring, where is a lot of opportunities to overtake. But here in Most it's very hard to overtake. There is not many good overtaking positions, so it's very hard to overtake usually in this circuit. Very hard to follow somebody. So,
I saw your face. You already tried to find a way in between the guys. I know you already have a plan in your head.
Yeah, for sure we will see what happens after the start, and if we see some opportunities, for sure we will go for them and try to overtake, but I'm not gonna take crazy risk or anything, so try to be safe.
Okay, so hopefully no big damages for you, because I know these guys are feisty up there, and good luck, and maybe see you at the podium later on. You never know. He's about to maybe become the champion this year. He has many points ahead, so I'm pretty sure he will know what to do. Chess, back to you.
Yeah, definitely. Norbert Kish knows what the score is by now, and when you're at the top of the championship like this, whether you have a big advantage or not, it's just about playing it safe, like Norby said, not taking any massive risks or anything. Just pick off the opportunities when they're there, take the places when it comes to you. He's got the pace, we all know that by now, and he just needs to make sure that he keeps his head in the game and doesn't push the limits too far. He's got a bunch of great drivers in front of him, though. Jamie Anderson and Jochen Hahn on the next row. And I believe Lena has actually gone to speak to the latter now. And yes, she has, Jochen Hahn.
Of course, I have to go back to Jochen. I can tell he's already concentrating on the race. He got his punishment beforehand. So is this affecting you anyhow in the second race now?
Yeah. The second race, it's the attractive race on the weekend or on the day. Yeah, you also make racing, and sometimes you make a strategy or a plan, but it's impossible. You know, the first chicane, it's very thin, so it's maybe the experience and the good concentration make the difference. And oh, please, no mistake on the start like on the first race, and then go forward.
He is a very experienced race. We let you go for now because I know he has to focus. It's the worst having to talk and you're starting right into a race. There always has to be a little bit of a moment to like calm down your mindset. So let these guys go. Jazz, and you have so much to tell, so I'm pretty sure you will fill up the minutes until this race finally is about to start.
Thank you very much, Lena. Yes, absolutely. If there's one thing that even my mother would say that I'm good at, it's talking rubbish for hours on end, let alone minutes. Still, here we go with the Ford F-Max making its way around the circuit. The Ford F-Max will always complete what's known as an inspection lap before our races, just to make sure there's no debris, no spillages, nothing on the circuit from any of the races before that may have been missed. And it's a good chance to show off this wonderful machine, one of the most attractive trucks that you see on the road these days, I'd say, the Ford F-Max, especially in this bright orange and black livery. Certainly looks very striking indeed. Very different to the sort of dark blue metallic examples that we've had over the last couple of years. But it's always good to work with Ford trucks, and we are grateful for their support of the championship once again. And this F-Max comes to us as a result of over 15,500 hours of lab testing. And when this Ford F-Max in particular was being developed, there was only over 5 million kilometres of road testing taking place to ensure that everything they did to get this truck right was going into a longevity plan of making sure that it's easy to drive and for a long, long time. Here's a look at the circuit for you then, and as you see, I mentioned this earlier on in race 1, it's a very long, narrow circuit geographically. It spreads very far from one end to the other. At its furthest points, it's turns 10 on the left-hand side of your shot there, and turn 20, the right-hander, before the final corner. And the circuit itself is a very, very technical track for these trucks to master. 4.2 kilometres, far from the longest circuit on the calendar, but still a real tricky challenge with some heavy braking zones, especially down into turns 1 and 2 and down into turn 10 as well, where the drivers need to be careful with those brakes because, as you all know, you'll see the water jets and the steam coming off the brakes over the course of the race. They are actively cooled by water to keep them around their optimum operating temperature of 450 degrees Celsius. Yes, really. And a lot of the drivers you'll see will mess with settings and all sorts during the course of the race, but a lot of the time those water jets are pretty much automated. The drivers can activate them themselves, but most of the time, once the brakes have been pressed and then released again, the water jets will spray on them as an instant reaction, so to speak. But we've now got only a couple of moments before the race gets underway, and the grid and the field will roll away onto the formation lap. You can see now all the personnel have made their way off the grid. We saw Michael Marek earlier on and Rolf Werner, the last two people on the grid, giving a final oversight to what was going on. And there are the crews making their way back into the pit lane, the T-Sport Bernau guys. You can see Alex and Tom there just making their way back, deciding that they were going to be early on down the pit lane as they let the Reveche Racing guys go past. They're actually teammates in this championship this season, are Reveche Racing and T-Sport Bernau. There are some of the gorgeous show trucks that always attend these race meetings. It's so great to be part of a championship that ties so well to an industry as well. That's the thing. A lot gets given into the industry from the truck racing, and the industry gives back as well. It really does go hand in hand very, very well. There's a lot of the chief race engineers getting ready trackside. Jose Rodriguez there, father of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. He's his race engineer for this season. We had him racing with us at a couple of rounds in the previous few years, previous few seasons, I should say. And there is our gorgeous Iveco S-Way pace truck, driven by the one and only Frank the Tank. Leading away, Adam Lachko and Steffi Halm from the front row of the grid. The aforementioned Iveco S-Way is very special in the way that it is a bio-LNG powered machine. You'll see these humongous bio-LNG gas tanks down the side of it. It's a very efficient, sustainable biofuel. And as you can see, Frank likes to make sure that this Iveco S-Way performs. You don't lose really any performance by having them as a bio-LNG alternative to diesel either. There's only a tiny sacrifice of horsepower and torque. But trust me, when you're in the truck itself, I've had many a lap in that Iveco S-Way, you do not feel the difference at all, I can tell you that for free. And for any of those, any of you that have been following my ventures with the championship, you would have seen that earlier on in the season I was lucky enough to be a passenger with Antonio Albacete at the Nürburgring. What a treat. So it's the home driver, Adam Lachko, on pole position then. Steffi Halm alongside him, a very interesting front row with a battle certain to get underway straight away. Lucas Hahn and Sascha Lenz, an all-German second row of the grid, Iveco versus MAN. Jamie Anderson and Jochen Hahn make up the third row of the grid. Jochen hoping to make up for the earlier penalty and the dropping down of one position. Antonio Albacete next up alongside Norbert Kish, championship leader. Next up is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. He was trying very hard to get past Lachko in that first race. Mark Taylor inside the top 10 once again after securing a championship point in the first race of the day. Stefan Fass and Andrei Kurzim make up row 6. And then we have Louis Requenco in 13th position and Heinrich Clemens Hecker in 14th place. It was his birthday yesterday, so happy belated birthday to Clemens. And then John Newell lines up 15th. He made up some places early on in that race, but then dropped back again in the later stages. So hoping for John that he can continually improve and take some more places this time round. They're just sweeping their way now down the later parts of the circuit. That's turn 16, the long left-hander. Just as it meets the bottom of the hill, you can see Adam Lachko kicking out the rear end there on the Goodyear ZM Racing Freightliner out of turn 17. This little kink here is turn 18. And then you'll see a little curb just on the left-hand side. Or maybe not, there was a curb there in previous seasons, I'm sure. But that is turn 19 where they are right now. It's apparently an extra corner added on. The circuit does claim to have 21 corners. I think the picky of us would probably say there's about 16. But still, that's by the by now because we're about to get the second race underway for this weekend at Autodrom Most in the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And it is going to be round number 18 of this season. Race 17 happening just earlier. And this being the final race of the day, everyone's going to want to get their elbows out and prove a point. It's Lachko and Halm on the front row of the grid. Adam Lachko back with us again in the Goodyear ZM Racing Freightliner. The turbo boosts up and they get underway down the start-finish straight. The engineers shout go. And go indeed they do. It's a great start by Antonio Albacete. Whoa, goodness me, there's a massive accident further down the order. Is that Mark Taylor that's gone around? I think it's Mark Taylor that's gone into the wall. Stefan Fass was involved in that as well. I'm not quite sure what's happened there, whether there was some sort of mechanical failure. There's contact between Kish and Hahn. There's contact with just about everybody down at the chicane. That's surely going to be a red flag, though. Andrei Kurzim has got a lot of damage to the front of his truck, and indeed Mark Taylor is the truck that's gone around. I would not be surprised to see a red flag come out for that one. Lucas Hahn is in third place, fighting with Sascha Lenz. Jamie Anderson's just thrown himself down the inside of Jochen Hahn. Norbert Kish tries to come through as well. Nearly contact between the two of them. Norby trying to go deep into turn 10. There's tyre smoke absolutely everywhere. 2 by 2 there. Sascha Lenz around the outside of Jamie Anderson as whoa, Norby's into the back of Jamie. There must have been a red flag brought out, and I don't think Norby saw it there. In the heat of the battle, it's very easy to miss these things. They're getting Mark Taylor out of the truck. He's able to get out under his own power, so he's clearly okay. As they just move that bodywork away. Here's a look then. So look at the right-hand side of your shot. Andre Curzim's gone in the middle of Stefan Faas and Mark Taylor. He's hit Stefan left into Mark, who's turned around and then put into the pit wall. I'm not sure how Andre Curzim's got that much of an advantage by that distance. Luckily, these racing trucks are very tough, and I think Louis Requenco didn't really have anywhere to go, so he's gone into the back of Mark once he stopped, but it was only a slight touch. If there is such a thing in a slight touch, when you've got 5-ton trucks hitting each other. But thankfully, Mark Taylor seems okay. He's going to be put into the medical car just for checks to make sure that they just cover all bases, ensure that he's perfectly fine. But that's a real shame to see it happen that way. But Andre Curzim just found that gap in the middle of the two of them. And I'm not sure that either Stefan or Mark knew that he was in there that early on, because it was very early on down the straight that he managed to get between the two of them. They get to the governed 100 miles an hour very quickly, these trucks. So it's not often that you see anybody get a run through the middle like that, but the irony is not lost on it being the Don't Touch racing machine that has caused the accident there. I mean, I say caused, probably a harsh judgment. It could have been either Mark or Stefan just moving over slightly one way or the other to try and cover off that gap that then caused the contact, but hard to tell from those angles. There's Adam Lachko. There was a big check-up in the chicane as well, wasn't there, at turns 1 and 2. Norbert Kish getting hit behind. As now they'll creep back to the start-finish line. They'll probably just line up on the grid again in their original starting order. You can see a bit of damage on Sasha Lenz's truck there. The right rear arch of his machine has just been pushed out and the clip has snapped, so it's lifted up. Yeah, they're all being told now to reform on the grid as they were. A bit of damage to the front of Steffi Halm's truck there. Not quite sure where that came from. Lucas Hahn's got bodywork hanging off his truck as well. Jamie Anderson seems to have come to a stop. I think he's letting some of the other drivers past. He's got Sasha Lenz next to him. Yeah, so he was behind Sasha on the grid, so he's just letting them go by. Then it'll be Jochen Hahn, Antonio Albersetti and Norbert Kish next up. I imagine Andre Curzim will come into the pit lane after that. Maybe Stefan Faas as well. But as you see, Mark Taylor's truck located further down the start-finish straight there after a big hit into the barriers. You can see the damage actually in the way that the pillar has been pushed in. So look on the right-hand side of your shot. Andre Curzim's got a great getaway. And Mark's not all the way over to the left-hand side of the circuit. And I think maybe Andre Curzim felt squeezed in to the inside wall there. Stefan Faas couldn't have anywhere really to go because he had the wall directly to his right. Andre clearly not wanting to back out of it. And the contact put Stefan Faas over to the left, which then turned Mark Taylor around and put him into the wall. It went cab first, and then the rear end of the truck hit as well, and it slid all the way down the wall. Luckily, didn't spin back across the circuit into traffic again. And then I think Louis Requenco didn't really have anywhere else to go, in fairness. He just stayed in a straight line, slammed on the brakes and came to a halt. And apparently the trucks that are under investigation for that are Andre Curzim and Stefan Faas. So Mark Taylor not involved in the investigation of what went on. But obviously the initial contact was between Curzim and Faas, it seemed. That's the massive array of photographers that are down there on the exit of turn 2, the chicane, one of the easiest parts of the circuit to get to, because you can then see behind turns 2 and 3 down towards turn 14 and 15. But all the fans will now patiently wait for Taylor's truck to get moved. And we'll try that again, shall we? We'll give it take 2 here at Autodrom Most. Crews will be allowed back onto the grid just to make sure all their trucks are functioning properly, there's nothing wrong. And there's a lot of fluid underneath Mark Taylor's truck there. I'm not sure how much of that will be potential coolant or radiator fluid. Hopefully not oil or even diesel. It could just be some of the water from the water-cooled brakes. They do often leave quite a trail when they roll backwards. But either way, water or coolant, it still needs to be cleared where possible. They've done a great effort there, actually, of rotating that truck around. It's got its bright green roll cage in there, which leads me to believe, I think it's one of Sasha Lenz's trucks. Sasha, a very well-renowned truck builder himself, him and his team. A lot of the time they'll build the chassis on these trucks and then the teams themselves obviously complete them how they see fit. There's one of the power stations down the road from here, just at Most itself. Always provides a very interesting backdrop because you've got these beautiful hills and a valley in the background, as you see there, but then a colossal power station that towers over a lot of it as well. It's a real interesting mix. A very industrial area down that way, heading towards the centre of Most. But it's a unique circuit that a lot of people don't know about. I mean, I love the look of this place. I think it's a very, very cool circuit. Very unique. There's a closer view of the recovery operation going on. They're being as careful as they can be to move Mark's truck back out of the way. The whole bodywork off the right-hand side has come off the thing, actually. And it's taken a whack on all corners because he got hit in the right rear, then went across the front of the other two trucks with the entire right-hand side. And then as it's gone into the wall, it's hit with the front left of the cab and then hit with the left rear, which it's then slid along the wall with, and you can see the liquid coming out the back of it. I'm trying to determine whether that is from the water tanks or not, but I think the water tanks are a little bit further forward than that. Then again, a lot of the trucks sometimes have quite different layouts underneath. And thank you to Alice Holloway for the updates as well. She's saying that Mark Taylor is at the medical centre for regulatory checks. It'd be good if I could speak English to relay Alice's information, wouldn't it? There's no visible injuries, and he seems to be okay after the incident, which is good to hear. The trucks are very, very safe, to be honest. I mean, the safety in this championship in particular is some of the finest in the world. These machines are big Goliaths and very scary sometimes, but the way that they protect the drivers is top-notch. Absolutely is. I mean, the roll cages on these things, the width and the thickness of the roll cages here, honestly. Even the greatest heist artists in the world couldn't break into these things. They are very, very sturdy. The front end of Lucas Hahn's truck isn't looking so sturdy at the moment, but it will be absolutely fine to run like that. There's just a big chunk of the bodywork missing. We could see it moving around earlier on. We're being given the estimated restart times, which has apparently now come in at 10 past, well, in 20 minutes from now, actually. Correction, I think it's half an hour from now, actually, which is just after 10 past 4 local time. So we may have a bit of filling to do here, everybody, while we wait to get things fixed. As they wait now to obviously get all the fluids cleared off the end of the circuit as well, at the end of the pit lane. That's one of the highest priorities, is making sure that the surface itself and the circuit isn't damaged in any way. They need to check the wall as well, because let's face it, when you've got a 5-ton truck at racing speed going into it, may not have been a head-on impact, but you still need to check the wall. Now we're just going to go quickly down to Lena for a moment and see what she's got to say.
Well, back to the pit, back to the next starting line. Of course, I think for every driver who has been in front, this is really hard work because you have to fight back for the position you just came from. And we were all standing around, we were like, what to do? Who to interview? Is Mark Taylor doing well? So we really crossed the fingers that this was not too much of a hard hit into the wall, because this really can hurt, specifically the legs, as the legs are like in the distance of the wall. So I really would like to do another interview, but they're all getting prepared to restart. So fingers crossed, it's going to be less damage. And Steffen Faas, this one is out to you, because he said, I'm going to stay out of trouble, and trouble just hit him. So let's see how the second part of the second race goes. For now, just back to you.
That's a very, very good point, actually, Lena. Well mentioned. So, yeah, Steffen Faas did literally say earlier that he was going to stay out of trouble, reduce the damage for this second race, and, well, they'd barely crossed the line before there was trouble, unfortunately. But look at this here. Look how beautiful the site is there. All the fans on the banking. Excellent to see it, isn't it? Such a busy paddock as well here at Marston. Great to see everybody filling that entire bank with all of the stands and all sorts behind them. And the wind dying down slightly here for just a moment. It's usually a very windy circuit as well, because it's near such a valley, as there's a lot of fluid coming from the front of Andrei Kurzim's truck there. You could see it all just piling out of the front. Apparently the number 11 will start from the pit lane as well, but I'm not sure it'll even start with that amount of fluid coming out of it. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And we're going to go down to another Iveco driver in the form of Steffi Halm, who's with Lena.
Yeah, we have a couple of minutes until the race really is going to start again. And Steffi was in the front fighting for first position against Adam. So how does it feel to you, red flag and having to restart?
Yeah, it's, sometimes you need it to stop the race with a red flag. And this was for sure unsafe. But for me, my position was good. I didn't win a position, but also didn't lose one. So yeah, for me it would be better that the race have continued, but it didn't, and I hope now for the second race start that we will have the same start like that, and then we will see what happens in the race.
All right, you already have some guys who fought to the front in your rears. Really cross my fingers, because as we heard, it's really narrow here. Do you have one part on this track where you're like, this is where I have the biggest possibility to overtake on this track?
The possibilities here are very, very narrow, yeah, because it's a narrow track. Even at the start and finish straight is that tight that even if you have a better start, you're stuck behind the others. We are not allowed to cross the white lines to avoid something like what happened in the first race start. And if there is no, if the guy in front of you makes no mistake, it's nearly impossible to overtake, even if you're close to 1 second faster than the other one.
All right, so I will let you go for now, because the race is about to restart very soon. Good luck to Steffi. I really hope to see her up at the podium later on. And just back to you. Let's cross these fingers. Come on, she really deserves another trophy in her shelf.
Yeah, she absolutely does. It's been a testing year for Steffi Halm so far this season. She's had 2 podium finishes, though, at the moment. She's coming into this race meeting on 80 points and currently sitting 6th in the championship. In terms of her overall career, Steffi Halm has taken a pole position, 10 race wins and 63 podiums, and this was actually going to be the weekend where she had her 300th race start, which was just earlier on today. This, unfortunately for Andrei Kurzim, is going to be his 200th race start as well, be it maybe 200 and a half, because he's going to be starting from the pit lane this time round. There you can see the clean-up operation getting underway here at the end of the pit lane. There's lots of cement, dust, sand, all sorts being put down there to absorb the fluid and have it all brushed away. That says to me that it's not just water that's been put down there that's come out of the brakes or anything like that. There's definitely coolant and oil involved. You can see by the colour of it as well that there's definitely not just water that's been spilled. But a great team effort here from the marshals as well. And a quick moment to say thank you to all the marshals that attend the race meetings that we put on. It's a different kettle of fish when you're a marshal for truck racing as opposed to any other sort of form of more conventional racing, let's say. And a massive thank you to all the marshals that do keep our racing alive. And obviously without them, we wouldn't be able to go racing in such the safe manner that we do. Everyone's always doing this voluntarily as well. And back down to the grid, we're going to go to Lena again.
Yeah, back down to Steffen Faas, the man who stays out of problems. You can tell it's the second time today his truck's getting fixed. And this really looks seriously. I mean, the door barely closes anymore. Like, you can tell that this truck has been suffering through a lot, and they're actually looking to start, I think, to understand what has been going on and what happened and whose mistake this was. So I don't know if I can talk to Steffen for a second. Did you understand what happened to you and your truck, Steffen?
Oh, sorry.
The man who always stays out of trouble, maybe not.
Ich habe gerade das erste Mal das angeschaut. Ich habe das nicht mehr so im Kopf gehabt, aber so wie es jetzt aussieht, wurde der André praktisch zwischen uns reingequetscht und hat sich dann an meinem Hinterrad aufgebockt und hat mich auf die Seite, und ich habe in dem Fall mit meiner vorderen Seite den Mark Taylor getroffen, und der Mark Taylor ist dann vor mir abgeflogen. Aber ich habe das so nicht wahrgenommen. Ich habe das jetzt gerade erst das erste Mal gesehen. Und man sieht halt ganz deutlich, dass der André praktisch an meinem hinteren Rad war und hat mich so rüber gedrückt. Und in dem Moment bin ich nach links raus. Ich habe zwar noch gelenkt, das habe ich noch im Kopf, und habe auch gebremst, aber trotzdem.
So he doesn't really remember what has been going on, because it's been quite a quick act, because you're like focusing in the front. You're actually like just pushing to get further on. So he said he knows that someone got in contact with his rear left tire, which also pushed him to the outside, like someone tried to squeeze in, and he was the one turning Mark Taylor then, or pushing Mark Taylor. So it turned so quickly. What is the speed you already might have had with such an accident?
Ich denke, wir haben da so um die 155, 160 schon drauf.
So it's really bad for Mark to like bump in the wall, cause 150 kilometers to already, which is quite serious. You're okay? You're doing good?
Yeah, I saw Mark in front of me, so I saw that Mark missed a start, and Andre takes the right-hand side, and I take the left way, and then Mark comes from this side, and it was close, maybe 20 centimeter, and I got on the grass one.
But your truck is okay? Do you need to fix anything?
Yes.
Okay. Here he's smiling. He's still like worried about this. So good luck to you guys. So we can have another look. Look, this is what a truck looks like when it was really lucky, and the other one we already saw. So we can only cross fingers that this race now will start. We had just heard, by the way, that it's going to start a little later. This is why we have more time for interviews. But Jess, maybe I'm finding one more person to talk to. And for now, back to you from, yeah, I don't know, I'm out of words. What's going on down here?
Thank you very much, Lena. Always good to hear from the drivers in these interesting moments. You can see here the radiator and all the coolant and everything all over the place here with Andre Kursim's truck. You can see the damage on the front end of that sort of collision bar, the bumper bar as well, which protects those massive chassis rails. You can see those humongous blue girders. They're like the spine of the truck. When these teams begin to build the truck itself, all that they are is literally just those two girders. It's amazing. I know in particular that T-Sport Burnau and Tim Frost have done a great video on when they start to build their race trucks over the winter as well. And I mean, I never knew how little there was to them when they started, but it's literally just those two pieces of metal on a frame. That is all it is when they start building these trucks. And right now, the Don't Touch Racing team, well, they're having to touch all of the internals of this massive, massive beast right now to make sure they can fix it all and get him out there for the second race. But as we heard, though, from Heinrich Clemens Hecker, it was the fact that Mark had sort of missed the start, didn't get as much of a run, so then the guys all tried to go to the right of him. He tried to come over to sort of close that gap, and unfortunately it all just squeezed together. Everybody had different ideas of where they were going to go, what they wanted to do, and that's motorsport sometimes. You have these miscommunications between drivers. They can't all shout at each other, but we can get Lena down there to go and shout at them. Who have you got, Lena?
It's really nice timing, talking to almost everyone. Time we normally do not have, to my fortune and to your disfortune, because I know Jose Rodriguez, I cannot speak Spanish very well, but you actually would like to race right now. You find it, were you involved in anything?
I not see what happened, but it's a big crash, and I'm focusing the next race.
You're like, thank you, I was not involved in this, I can tell. By the way, it's out of the medical center, he's doing fine, so they were only control, which they sometimes if someone really had a serious damage. So good luck to you. I hope the best for you. I mean, there is still some way you to fight through, and don't go through in the middle because we just saw it.
Okay.
So let's take the time.
Thanks very much, Lena. I think there was just a slight issue with our camera connection there. Apologies, everybody. But we, heard from Jose Eduardo Rodriguez there, who was obviously very grateful not to have been involved in that one. And I suppose most of the time in racing, you've got to be in the right place at the right time. It seemed like being away from all of that and in front of it all was the best place to be. There's more of the... Well, there's a lot of Mercedes Actrosses up there actually lined up on the top of the bank. We don't have any Actrosses in the championship at the moment, but it would be interesting to see if we could get some of them all together. I know that Norbert Kish used to race for Mercedes as well. Tankpool 24 used to run Mercedes Actrosses actually, instead of the Scania that they have now, which Stefan Faust controls. But it's still a nice varied grid this season, and again, it's good to see that we've got the Goodyear Freightliner back of Adam Lachko. The Goodyear ZM Racing Freightliner is very unique amongst the other more traditional shaped racing trucks that we have on our grids. A lot of fans, like I said earlier, of all generations, all ages, excited to be here for the weekend to watch the truck racing action get underway. And there's plenty of good viewing spots around this great circuit here at Autodrom Most. There is Lucas Hahn's truck. Now that front left looks a lot more severe than it is, but it shows you how little there is when the bodywork isn't there actually. The components can be quite exposed down that part. You can see some of the staff from SL Truck Sport 30 just behind there as well. Some of the guys from John Newell's team also. I think I spotted Jane Bigler down there as well. One of the absolute stars of the paddock is Jane. She seems to have dyed her hair black again, though, instead of purple this time around. I'm not sure if she saw it as some sort of unlucky charm to dye it the Apollo purple. I'll have to message her and find out on that one. Maybe the purple dye was too expensive. Too much upkeep. But still, there's the sort of front end of the grid. Not looking anywhere near as damaged or as worn out by that first start that we had. And we're going to go back down to Lena, who hopefully now, by all the walking up and down the grid, isn't too worn out herself.
Yeah, the purple truck of Sascha Lenz, and being a mechanic myself, of course, this is quite interesting to me, seeing how they're quick fixing the truck, because we still have a couple of minutes going on until the race is going to be starting again. They were like, okay, the old one is so damaged, it might also destroy the tire. You know, if something is like constantly flapping on the tire, it's no good for the tire, although they're really doing a good job here in the tracing. So they were like, okay, let's see if we can put on a new one in those minutes we're having. But things have been bent so much that he actually already had to work on the new wing to even be able to attach it, and I can tell he's not super happy about it. I will let him work on, because this is really important, getting this fixed. But we can go over to Sascha. Let's see if he has a minute for us. I will just open the door and disturb him. He's closing down. Hello, Sascha, talk to me. Hello, Sascha, talk to me. There he is. See, that's what you do. You just jump up and down until someone talks to you. Something serious damaged on your truck? Are you doing fine?
Yeah, it fits me good. You know, it was in one corner was really short, and Jamie kicked my back, so it's live.
Okay, you're still relaxed. I can tell you're already focusing on the race and restart. Do you have a position you really would like to end up today?
No, I want to give my best, and then we will see what is the end.
So I hope your car will be fixed in 1 second. I will close this again. Thank you. Yeah, there are some, they really want to stay in the focus in the box, not too much talking. So I will just leave him alone. And Chaz, I think we almost had everyone down here for now. So back to you, and let's hope the race really will restart in a second.
Thank you very much, Lena. Yes, indeed, plenty of interviews this time around, which is good to see. Always lovely to speak to as many drivers and personnel as possible. There's one of the Goodyear racing personnel as well, just speaking with some of the fire marshals there. Doesn't that bloke look cool? Looks fantastic, doesn't it? The reflective glasses certainly adding to the image there. You can see Norbert Kish just stood by the barrier speaking to some of his team down there at Rivage Racing. And there is the new rear wheel arch going on Sascha Lenz's machine. Final preparations ahead of the race, though, being completed. A lot of the personnel have made their way off the grid now anyway. So it won't be long at all as Norby now makes his way over to the number 1 machine on the right-hand side of shot. Big, gorgeous red Baloo. You can see Antonio there just keeping the door open for a moment just for ventilation. It's often quite muggy, as we say in the UK anyway, very humid and still hot despite not being completely sunny. It can be really, really warm at Most. It's a very humid environment down there. So a lot of the drivers you'll see them sort of opening the door and not just keeping it open but moving it back and forth to create some sort of draft in the cabin, just to try and keep them as cool as possible. And where you can see all that massive patch there was where Andre Kurzim's truck was, but Lena's made her way now to where it currently is.
Don't Touch Racing, they're really having a tough weekend already. They had to exchange the engine yesterday. Now Andre got into this little, let's say, fight, and they're trying to fix the heating again, I guess. It's stripping there. Look, they're like trying to fix the front because this is also safety standard. This has to be fine in case something else happens. He can only restart like that. So I don't want to disturb them, but I can tell they're really on a rush and they're really fighting for it to be going in there. And now they have to heat up the engine to de-air the cooling system. So it's quite loud, but I will just see, are you gonna get the truck ready? Yeah? Okay, so Andre will be back on track and let's hope for the race. I can't wait for it. I mean, this is really lovely sound, and having all the engines starting again, having the race restarting, really will be a pleasure in quite a second. Jess, back to you.
Absolutely, you've got to love the enthusiasm, but that's the thing, when you are in a paddock like this and you hear these massive engines all fire up, the whole ground just rumbles. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing when these racing trucks get going. The engines are nearly 13 litres in most senses, 13 litre 6-cylinder single turbocharged diesel engines, which can often pump out 1,200 horsepower and nearly 6,000 newton meters of torque. That is not an exaggeration, nearly 6,000 newton meters of torque. The numbers in truck racing are ridiculous though, and that's why we love them so much. The minimum weight is 5.3 tons in these machines, and often 3.1 tons of that needs to be weighed over the front axle. And on top of that, you then get trucks that can perform with incredible performance. I mean, the 0 to 60 figures obviously aren't fantastic because it would destroy the clutches trying to get so much power through the gearbox so quickly. But when you consider the 20 to 100 miles an hour time, it has been compared to the same amount of time as a Porsche 911 GT3 RS. That's just how quick these machines are. And again, I remind everybody, if you've never witnessed truck racing in person, I would urge you to go and see it as early as you can. Just try and enjoy it and see what it's like in person. You can see the size of these machines. Sure, they're not as big as the trucks that you'd see on the road, but they are still very, very big indeed. You can see some of the guys there from T-Sport Burnout helping out Don't Touch Racing, which is lovely to see. Especially considering as well, they don't even run the same kind of trucks. Obviously, a lot of the components may be similar, but it's just great to see that they all come together to help each other out. You can see the very high-tech watering can there being used on the back of the number 11 Iveco. But this is just the time now where they make sure all fluids are all topped up and ready to go and everything is as it should be. There's a nod there from the gentleman on the left, which clearly says to me that it's all good, ready to go. And hopefully Andre Kurzim can get back out on circuit in the right time. He'll be at the end of the pit lane, but still running at full pelt. And there you go, everybody. Andre Kurzim gets moving down the pit lane. And a round of applause there as well in the pit lane for that fantastic effort. And that's the second time this weekend that the Don't Touch Racing team have had And now we get rolling on the formation lap. Apologies, everybody. The connection dropped out for just a moment. And there is the gorgeous Iveco S-Way, driven by Frank, making its way now around the first couple of corners. The bio-LNG powered Iveco S-Way. And again, I do apologise for the connection issue. I mentioned that at Most sometimes the connection does drop out. The sort of local network in that area can make it slightly difficult sometimes for all of the broadcasts and everything to run completely smoothly. But fingers crossed, we are all good now and you can all hear me well. Chaz Draycott here commentating from the UK, where I can tell you it's absolutely leathering it down outside my window right now. I'd much rather be in Most, to be honest with you. It has been raining pretty much all day where I am in the UK, up north. But up north at the front of the grid, we have Adam Lachko and Steffi Halm. They'll be starting side by side once again. Bit of bodywork damage on the front of Steffi's truck, but it was elbows out stuff in the first running of the race. I'm not sure if that was just the sort of the protective bag over the camera that was rustling around there, or whether it's more than just windy and whether some rain is going to come down here, because it's got a lot gloomier here at Most all of a sudden. Like I said, it's got a Nürburgring-like climate where it can be sunny 1 minute and then 10 seconds later it can be torrential rain out of absolutely nowhere. You can see a number of trucks with bodywork damage, pieces missing, all sorts. Sasha Lenz and Lucas Hahn on row 2 of the grid. Sasha with that new right rear wheel arch. Then behind them, Jamie Anderson alongside Jochen Hahn. And then we have Antonio Albacete and Norbert Kish on the 4th row. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez next up on the 5th row. There'll be a gap where Mark Taylor would have been. And then another gap behind where Andre Kurzim would have been. Sasha Lenz. Sorry, not Sasha Lenz, I apologise. Stefan Faas next up, ahead of Louis Requenco and Heinrich Clemens Hecker. And then John Newell, and Andre Kurzim is actually starting from the back of the grid here. So instead of just starting at the end of the pit lane, he's starting at the back of the grid, which is an interesting development to see. And into the pit lane comes the Iveco S-Way once more. One more corner to go and we will get race 18 of the championship underway. We'll get there eventually, everybody. As mentioned then, take 2 for round 18 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And we're underway, and it's a very chaotic start. Steffi Halm was, well, very far ahead of Adam Lachko. And look at Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. The two of them go flying through the right-hand side, then the left-hand side, and gain a load of positions by the time they get to turn 1. Jochen Hahn around the outside, and Lucas Hahn, no, father and son come together on the exit of turn 1. Lucas goes in hot, hits the back right corner of his father's truck, and now Adam Lachko's given a free chance to lead the race, but the two Ivecos come back on, battered and bruised further down the order. Unbelievable stuff. Jochen got an amazing getaway, took advantage of the start. Adam Lachko kept them all waiting for so long, but I don't think it was on Adam. I think it was just the start procedure. When the lights went out, Lucas went in too hot and then hit the right rear corner of Jochen Hahn, his teammate and his dad. Unbelievable scenes. And now Jochen's sending it back down the inside of Lucas, but look at that. Adam Lachko leading the way, Steffi Halm in second, Jamie Anderson in third, then it's Antonio Albacete, and look at that, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez has gained a bunch of places as well. He's gone from 9th on the grid up into, I think, 5th position. He's ahead of Sasha Lenz and Norbert Kish, then it's Heinrich Clemens Hecker behind them. But wow, another dramatic start here at Most. An incident under investigation already down there at turn 1. The conditions certainly look very humid right now, almost rain, I'd say. Lachko leading the way. That'll be a very popular result already with the fans, the fact that he's just leading the race. Steffi Halm next up ahead of Jamie Anderson, who's been very quick once again this season. Then it's Antonio Albacete. All of the top 4 potential race winners. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is going to be under pressure from Sasha Lenz and Norbert Kish for sure, so he needs to just try and stay out of trouble there. The side-by-side in the background, I think that was Jochen Hahn going past Lucas Hahn. And down the start-finish straight we go to complete lap 1. It's Lachko, Halm and Anderson. 1, 2, 3. Then it's Albacete, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Lenz, Kish, Hecker, Fass and Kurzim up into 10th place already. And yes, it was Jochen Hahn overtaking his son, Lucas Hahn, up into 11th place. John Newell 13th, Louis Riquenco 14th. And we go on to the second lap of the race already. As there is Norbert Kish getting past Sasha Lenz on the exit of turn 1 and turn 2. Lovely manoeuvre. And through he goes, the reigning champion and current championship leader, going up into 6th place. And it looks like Lucas Hahn is the one that's being looked at for the incident down at turn 1, understandably so, because, well, it was the contact between him and his dad. Here's a look at it again then. So look, Adam Lachko is on pole position. He's the one that's got to wait. Steffi Halm is way in front. Sasha Lenz goes nowhere. Jochen Hahn goes to Sasha's right, then to his left. Antonio Albacete squeezes through the middle. There's contact between Jamie Anderson and Steffi Halm. I think Jamie tried to move back over to the left, not knowing that Antonio was there. And then look, Lucas... Oh, I think Lucas gets a hit, you know. I think Lucas gets contact from Jamie Anderson behind. I was thinking that Lucas had locked up and gone into the side of him on his own accord, but I think he got pushed, you know. I think there was a bit of contact from behind, because there was no tyre smoke or anything that showed that he locked up, and all of a sudden he jolted forward into the side of him. But still, the race goes on. And it's now Jochen Hahn chasing down fellow Iveco driver Andre Kurzim. They're both having a tough time here. All the bodywork has come off the right-hand side of Jochen's truck. It shows this very skinny exterior, or interior of these trucks, I should say. There's the two Scanias together, teammates at Sweden Power, Clemens Hecker and Stefan Faas. There's the view from on the pit wall of the trucks buzzing their way down the straight. Rolling thunderstorms, these machines. And you can see now Jochen Hahn trying to put Kurzim under pressure. He's going to try and go around the outside into turn 1 to make it the inside of turn 2. Doesn't work this time round. He tries to get a cut back on him. Does he get it done? I don't think he does, no. He doesn't get the run off the corner. Andre now with no front end. Still holding on to that position. John Newell has been given a warning for track limits, apparently. The whole field semi-spread out at the moment. Look at this, though. That's not spread out, is it? Norbert Kish all over the back of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, trying to put the pressure on the Portuguese driver. He's leading the Promoters' Cup, not just in the championship, but in this race as well at the moment. He's got a couple of positions back to Heinrich Clemens Hecker, who's only had one podium in the Promoters' Cup so far this season. He'll be very happy to take another one, I'm sure. But right now, Norby putting all sorts of pressure on the back of Jose Eduardo. As we're now on lap 3 out of 11 here at Autodrom Most. You can see the circuit looks almost shiny at the moment as the sun comes out. Norby down the inside into turn 20. Lovely uniform manoeuvre that is by Norbert Kish. Leaves a bit of room for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez on the exit, but then slots in front of his fellow MAN driver. Jose Eduardo tries to come back at him out of the final corner, but Norby gets that run that he needs. There's a warning for Stefan Faas for the track limits. And here is the battle at the front of the pack. It's Lachko ahead of Halm, ahead of Anderson, and then Albacete. Lachko's not been able to get away here. Steffi Halm certainly looking good in second position, but needs to be careful about Jamie Anderson behind. And apparently Andrei Kurzim is now continuing a very difficult weekend because he's under investigation. There you go, for overspeeding at the start of the race. It's not been an easy one for him or the team. 5th in the championship as well coming into this race meeting is Andrei Kurzim. So he needs to be careful because he can lose championship position very easily. It's very close in the middle of the pack. So too is Heinrich Clemens Hecker. He's also under investigation for overspeeding. Back down the hill they go. Lachko's opened up a little bit of a gap actually at the start of this lap. Looking good currently. Jamie Anderson's just trying to find a way to get the door open here to get past Steffi Halm. Up into second position, but needs to be careful in his own way because he's got the teammates there. Antonio Albacete and Norbert Kish parked up behind him, waiting to take advantage themselves. As they fly down towards turns 19 and 20. You can see Norby knows now that Antonio's got the pace to stay with these guys in front, so he's not going to force the issue. He's not going to cause any problems yet. He's just going to wait until the perfect opportunity comes his way to try and get through. Louis Requenco's been given a warning for track limits. He's down there in 14th place at the back of the field at the moment. Now there's Norby over to the right-hand side. I was telling you earlier that they are governed to 100 miles an hour or 160 kilometers an hour, so sitting in the slipstream behind the truck in front of you does absolutely nothing other than risk overspeeding and just give a load of hot air to your engine. You may as well just break away from any sort of slipstream or any hot air coming off the back of the trucks in front of you and just hit fresh, cool air where possible down the start-finish straight. Antonio Albacete will be having a bit of a poor memory of this circuit from last year because just on this part of the circuit they had a massive engine failure. I believe it was one of the pistons just completely left the block, made a massive hole in it. And there was a big oil fire that very quickly went out actually, but he had to put the truck off the circuit into the gravel. So he's going to be hoping for a much better weekend this time round. He's already had a second place, which they'll be happy with. Another podium is potentially on the cards here if he can get ahead of Jamie Anderson. But we have to wait and see what happens in front of that because Lachko's still leading the way in the Freightliner. Nearly at the halfway point of the race. We're on lap 5 now. We're just going to head into lap 6 when this is completed. The lap counter in the top left tells us how many laps we've completed, not which lap we're on, just for your information. And it's currently on lap 5, 5 for the lead. Lachko, Halm, Anderson, Albacete and Norbert Kish. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez hasn't exactly dropped away from them at the moment, but he's not quite sticking with them either. He's in that sort of middle ground of being able to just hold the gap as it is. Norby will be backing off a little bit here. He's got the pace over Antonio in front of him, but again, Antonio himself is having to back out because the checkups and the battles that are going on ahead of them are slowing this entire pack down, really. Flying formation down the start-finish straight. Everybody now filtering back over to the left. The ideal racing line around turns 1 and 2. Looks like Lachko's really having to back it up there, actually, compared to the drivers behind him. But he's just got really good traction off the corner. This train is getting longer and longer, isn't it? Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is much closer than he has been here. Norby did say earlier that it's hard to overtake around this circuit, and it certainly seems like it. These two are teammates as well, so there won't be anything too risky going on here between these pair. Between them, they have 7 championship titles. Norbert Kish with 4, Antonio Albacete with 3. Between them, they have a crazy amount of podiums, nearly 500 podiums between them. And if one of them wins this race, actually, between them, they'll have 200 wins exactly. They've got 199 race wins. 109 from Antonio Albacete and 90 from Norbert Kish. Sorry, 91 from Norbert Kish, actually. So they do have 200 wins now. Antonio Albacete won the championship in 2005, 2006, and then 2010. Norbert Kish has won it in 2014, 2015, 2021 and 2022. He's won it every year that I've commentated on it as well so far. Back up the hill they go through turn 18. That is turn 19, apparently. Norby's starting to look down the inside now. He's showing a little less patience at this point. He's sat behind Antonio for a while, hoping that something ahead would develop, but it just hasn't. It just hasn't. Sasha Lenz has got a decent gap over Jochen Hahn, who's made his way up past Stefan Fass into 8th position. That helps Jose Eduardo Rodriguez as well, because that means that now Stefan Fass is an extra truck back from him in case anything happens here. Hard onto the brakes again. You can see just how interesting the conditions are here. It seems so dark in the background, but so sunny when you look at the circuit. There's a mistake there by Adam Lachko. He's gone deep into the first chicane. Oh, Steffi Halm gets a real wiggle on the exit, though. Can't quite get the power down like she wanted. Mid-corner, the truck really didn't behave itself, and Jamie Anderson can sense an opportunity now. Norbert Kish side by side with Antonio Albacete a little bit further back. There's a bit of contact between the two of them even as they head into turn 6 and then 7. This is 7 now, the right-hander. Then there's another right, which is turn 8, this one. Then turn 9. And then this is hard on the brakes. Into turn 10, Jamie Anderson sends it on the inside of Steffi Halm. Oh, it didn't need to happen like that. He went for the gap. I don't think Steffi expected it, and the two of them make a bit of contact. Now that's going to give Adam Lachko a bit of an opportunity. And look at that, Norbert Kish has got past Antonio Albacete, and is he already going to go past Jamie Anderson? I don't think so. Down into turn 13. Norby knows that it would be a big compromise to all of them if he tried to get through down there. Down the back straight they go towards turn 14. And then 15. But that does give Adam Lachko a little bit of breathing room in front now. And to be fair, if Jamie Anderson starts coming under pressure now from Norbert Kish, Steffi Halm could have a bit of an easier ride as well of this in second position. Here's a look at it again. Jamie tries to go down the inside. I don't think Steffi knew that he was going to do it, and he has to get on the grass, hard on the brakes, locks up that rear axle. And luckily, the contact isn't heavy enough to affect either of them too much. And they both manage to continue on, holding their positions. The top 6, almost 7, are all together now around the final corner here at Moss. This is all for the race lead. This is excellent truck racing indeed. Lachko still leads, Halm still second, Anderson still third, and the development that lap is Norbert Kish getting ahead of Antonio Albacete. Onto the brakes they go into turn 1. This is where Lachko's been his weakest though. He can't get the truck turned in as he wants it. Steffi Halm much smoother on the exit that time, sticks with him a little bit more. There you can see Jochen Hahn trying to get past, sorry, Lucas Hahn trying to get past Stefan Fass in the Promoters' Cup. The Hahns will both be absolutely devastated after that because it was such a golden opportunity for them to maybe get a father and son on the podium. I don't think we've seen that before, actually, with those two. I'll have to look back through my previous results to find out on that one, but I don't think we've seen Lucas Hahn and Jochen Hahn on the same podium together. You never know, we may still see that this weekend. But Adam Lachko is doing an awesome job in this Bagheera Freightliner at the very front of the pack at the moment. Steffi Halm just behind him, just holding on. You can see she's putting pressure on, but it's just not enough at the moment to unsettle Adam. She's going to have to wait for a big mistake down at turn 1 from him. He's seemingly not been able to get the truck stopped and turned in as much as he would have liked. But if he can hold on to this, it'll be an amazing defensive drive by Adam. And it'll be a very popular result with the fans as well. Thanks again to Alice for sending over all the information regarding penalties and so on from Race Control. It's been a drive-through penalty for Heinrich Clemens Hecker for overspeeding at the start. And the number 11 of Andrei Kurzim has been disqualified for 3 instances of overspeeding, so maybe the incident has affected the GPS. Jamie Anderson's on 2 warnings for track limits now. Any others and he'll get a penalty, so he has to be really careful following these guys. Lucas Hahn is also on a penalty as well. Mentioning Alice as well, actually, I believe her dad's here this weekend at the race meeting to go and see truck racing once more. As down the inside goes Norbert Kish on Jamie Anderson. He hits the back of Steffi Halm, trying to hold that inside line and defend from Norby. Very feisty stuff there through the first couple of corners. And somehow they all get away with it. And look now, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez on the back of Antonio Albacete. Sasha Lenz on the back of those two as well. This is a 7-truck lead. A 7-truck battle for the lead. I can't even get my words out. Is Norby going to show Jamie how it's done here and go down the inside? No, he's going to go on the outside, look. He's going to try and just keep the nose alongside, then tuck back, then get a run on the exit of the corner. Just lights up the rear that little bit too much though, doesn't he? Norby's so good at getting off the corner though. It's one of the places where he and that MAN really do excel. The way they've got it set up is spot on. It's one of those perfect examples of driving style meeting setup and behaviour of the vehicle itself. This is an awesome battle between all of these drivers at the front of the field. You've got Adam Lachko returning to the championship after not competing in this season as a one-off entrant for this weekend to really spice things up. Steffi Halm hoping to take her first race victory in a while. Jamie Anderson on a great resurgence from a fantastic 2022. And Norbert Kirsch hoping to just continually extend his championship lead. He will do as well at the moment because he is ahead of Jochen Hahn, Sasha Lenz and Antonio Albacete. As you saw a moment ago, all of our trucks are powered by 100% renewable HVO diesel as well. So it's all clean green racing here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. A lot of them will carry the green fifth wheel, as you'll see, with all of the HVO diesel branding on it. Something that was introduced for this season. As down the inside, Norbert Kish makes the move on Jamie Anderson. He's gone down the inside of turn 1, but it's not going to be the inside of turn 2. He's going to be wedged out on the outside line, but he's managed to keep it there. Jamie's given him the room. Respectful stuff by Jamie. Giving racing room. Both of them doing that now as they head down towards turn 5 and then turn 6. They're still side by side. Jamie tries to squeeze Norby to the apex. There's a little bit of a kiss here and there. Left and then right, boys. Norby decides to back out of that one. A little bit too much compromise in terms of the pace. This is the penultimate lap of the race now, by the way. Lap 10 out of 11. Norby tries to take it deep into turn 10. Doesn't quite work. And look at all these lot. There's 8 of them now for the race lead. And still Adam Lachko leads, still Steffi Halm second, and still Jamie Anderson in third. You can see a bit of dust being kicked up here and there though at the moment. Certainly the drivers taking to the absolute edges of the circuit and really pushing where they can. One more lap to go here in round 18 of the championship here in 2023. And even there, look, more battles further down as Sasha Lenz gets sideways on the brakes there in front of Jochen Hahn. So it's Adam Lachko, Steffi Halm, Jamie Anderson, Norbert Kirsch, Antonio Albacete, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Sasha Lenz and Jochen Hahn. All of them covered, well, I'll tell you when they cross the line. The whole top 8 covered by 4.2 seconds onto the final lap here at Most. And a quick note from race control as well, by the way. They are looking into Adam Lachko's start because of the speed at which he was crossing the line and the speed at which he was getting going. That's what caused all the confusion in this crazy start. I imagine they'll be up in arms about it. And Adam Lachko is under investigation for start speeds. I imagine that'll be something that gets figured out after the race, but we'll have to see. In terms of the facts right now, though, it's Lachko leading Steffi Halm there in the number 44 Iveco. You can see how much that truck is moving around. It's so exciting to see it. The way it bobbles from one corner to the next, managing the weight over all 4 corners, all 6 wheels on these trucks. Lachko has driven a fantastic defensive drive, though, over the course of this race. He has done exactly what he needs to do. Steffi's truck there giving a sarcastic wave to Jamie Anderson, just sat behind on the brink of a podium. Is Norbert Kish going to send it down the inside into the final couple of corners? Bit more dust kicked up there by Adam Lachko. It'd be horrible for him to lose this race win at his home round, especially when he's driven so valiantly at the front of the field. The crowds here will absolutely love it if he crosses the line first. Either way, Steffi Halm still holding on to second. Watch the big red Revesh racing machine of Norbert Kish. Jamie Anderson made a fantastic move down the inside. Lucas Hahn here just last year. Norbert Kish is doing the same to him. He puts his nose down the inside. Jamie says no thank you. Cuts across the front into turn 20. Down towards turn 21. And well, it may not stand, we're not sure at this point in time, but round the final corner and across the line to win at Autodrom Most in front of a home crowd. Round 18 goes to Adam Lachko over Steffi Halm and Jamie Anderson. Norbert Kish finishes 4th. Antonio Albacete finishes in 5th. And then it's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in 6th place, who takes the win in the Promoters' Cup category. That is definitely not up for debate. Then it's Stefan Faas and Lucas Hahn that finish 2nd and 3rd in the Promoters' Cup as well. And Adam Lachko gets on with drifting, celebrating his win on the road. And well, we will have to see what happens here then as a result of that. But look at this. Adam Lachko lighting up the rears of the Bagheera ZM Racing Freightliner. Trucks 55, 44 and 33 first, second and third in that one. For those of you that love number alliteration. Norbert Kish in 4th, Antonio Albacete in 5th place. And then Jose Eduardo Rodriguez taking the victory in the Promoters' Cup. A very international top 6 at least. And then 4 German drivers next up: Lenz, Hahn, Faas and Hahn again. John Newell just missing out on a top 10 there actually, but recovered to get ahead of Clement Hecker and Louis Requenco. But even if there is a penalty incoming for Adam Lachko, it was great to see that drive at the front of the field and fantastic to see him take the victory on home soil. The marshals very, very happy, as you can see. Excellent. Absolutely excellent. That embodies the passion behind this sort of motorsport, doesn't it? That one man there was very, very appreciative of it. There is your provisional result, I have to say. Adam Lachko, Steffi Halm and Jamie Anderson. Either way, a very popular podium, those 3 drivers. And there are currently, thanks again to Alice for confirming, 3 open investigations at the moment with race control and with the stewards between trucks 11 and 24, which is Andrei Kurzim and Stefan Faas for the initial incident on the first race start. Lucas Hahn and Jochen Hahn for the first corner incident on the second start, and then the start speeds for Adam Lachko. Look at the drifting here by Adam. This is one of the best things about racing trucks, is that the weight over the rear end, or lack of, means that with all the grip at the front you can really kick the tail out and get a fantastic drift on the go, even in dry conditions. As they all make their way back into the pits. You can hear the horns being sounded on the trucks. All of the appreciation from not just the fans but the drivers as well. These trucks all do have horns as well, so you will often hear the drivers sounding them as they head round. There goes Sasha Lenz back into the paddock. He's the first truck back in. There'll be an interesting discussion between Jochen and Lucas Hahn, I'm sure, after that one. And it may be that we have the penalties and all sorts decided between races. As I think Adam was directed the wrong way there. I saw Janine Mayer running down there to say, no, he's supposed to go this way for the podium. And yeah, the rest of them now being told to come this way. So the marshal, unfortunately, they're not giving the right advice. Steffi Halm makes her way to second place. A solid result that for Steffi. Great defensive driving again. And Jamie Anderson there. Truck 33, P3 for Jamie. And now I'm not quite sure what they're going to do with Adam Lachko's truck, because he's gone down there now towards scrutineering. I don't know whether they're going to drag him back up here. There's some of the beautiful scenery around Most. But at least we know the Promoters' Cup result anyway. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez finishing in 6th place. Stefan Faas finishing in 9th place. And Lucas Hahn finishing in 10th. They are the podium finishers in the Promoters' Cup for round 18 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And we're going to go down to the driver that finished in 2nd place on the road in this one, Steffi Halm. She's with Lena.
Stay here.
I was thinking to myself,
Okay. Yeah, what a race. What a defense of both of you. Wow, this was really exciting to watch. Let's start off with you first, because you had Norbert Kisch in your back at the very end, and you really did a good job, like putting through for 3rd place in this case. Congratulations.
Yeah, we had a good fight with Steffi, and I could see Steffi was struggling with Adam, so I was trying to look for an opportunity. And then it was backing me up even more, and I could just see this bright red truck coming, so I knew I had to get my elbows out, and I hope I drove fair and clean, and I hope we both was happy with it. But no, it was a good race, and kept everyone on their seats.
Well, you tried to overtake, and you gave her quite a damage. Could you feel the damage as you were racing?
The damage is just plastic. You don't feel it, you just see it in the mirror. But yeah, he tried it because it was not so easy also for me, because Adam in some corners he was very slow, and Jamie was in some corners also faster than me, so it was very difficult if you're not able to drive your same speed to defend. And he saw just a little gap, but it was not enough, so he got back. And but we touched. It's racing, nothing happened, so everything was.
You can be so proud you're 2nd today. So both go get your trophies. I will see you in a second again. And Adam, he was misled over there. So I really would like to do an interview with him, which we will do later on. For now, back to you, Chess. And what a race. I mean, I've really been jumping up and down, and I really hope you did the same.
Well, I tell you, if my seat wasn't so comfortable here in my office, I would have been jumping up and down, absolutely. But what a great race indeed. Adam Lachko is there, actually, just chatting to Steffi Halm. Stefan Faas walks over as well to give his congratulations. But great to see that respect there between Steffi and Jamie. And this is the thing, there was contact there. In other forms of motorsport, you'd probably see the two drivers kicking off at each other for contact like that. But they know the sorts of the beasts that they're racing. They know the nature of these trucks. They're very difficult to get around a circuit on their own, let alone when you're all trying to battle each other and you're too wide and trying to find gaps down the inside and then having to back out of it. It's very, very tough, but great to see the respect. We're going to go back down, though, to Lena with another interview, I think.
And there's the winner, Adam. Well fought through, so you must be really happy. And this was quite a tough job for you, keeping the elbows out, no?
Yeah, it's very hard. We have a restart. The first start is also very good. Second start is I have good start, but after it's very tough because I have problem with braking and I have a lot of understeer. Steffi see everything and she try everywhere, but she must defend behind her, and this is helping me a little bit, and I use to go to a little bit to the front.
Did you feel her, because she was quite behind you very narrowly quite often?
It's better looking to the forward than backward. And yeah, I feeling she's behind me very close, but I concentrate for don't make mistake, and for the track everything is good, and go to the finish.
So I think all the fans from the Czech Republic who have been cheering for you must be really happy now. So there will be a little party going on tonight. No?
Not party, because tomorrow is again a racing day, but I hope it's all Czech fans and fun from the buggy bar racing. It's very happy.
So congratulations from my side. Go get your trophy, and I see you over there. So good. So Chess, now we got all three of them. Now you're Mr. Fourth in the round.
Thank you very much, Lena. Yes, great to see Adam Lachko back with us again. Great to hear from him. And like you said, a lot of problems there with the braking and the understeer. It was very apparent down at turn 1. But it's a big thumbs up for Adam Lachko, who takes the win in round 18 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Steffi Halm finishing in second place with Jamie Anderson just behind. An epic battle that included them, Norbert Kish, Antonio Albacete, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Sasha Lenz and Jochen Hahn. Look at that, the top 8 covered by 6 seconds, give or take, at the end of the race. Amazing stuff. Stefan Faas finishes in 9th place. That puts him second in the Promoters' Cup, with Lucas Hahn rounding out the top 10, and that's another podium for him in the Promoters' Cup as well. John Newell just missing out there, but getting an 11th place finish ahead of Heinrich Clemens-Hecker and Louis Requenco. Unfortunately, it was Andre Kurzim that was disqualified, and Mark Taylor, after the earlier damage, not taking part in the second running of the race. We now move down to the podium, where all of the Bagheera family, let's say, are all down there. I believe I saw Fabian Calve down there as well. Also, he'll be here this weekend cheering on Adam Lachko. His son Theo Calve, who was racing as Adam's teammate last year in this championship, is currently still running with them at the French Truck Racing Championship. We saw him at the Nürburgring as part of the Mittelrhein Cup. And I believe Theo is around as well, actually. I caught up on his Instagram just the other day that he was heading to a truck race meeting somewhere. I don't think there's a French Truck Racing Championship round this weekend. I think it's just this one here at Most. There's a gentleman there, I think, ready to answer a question or something, as Adam Lachko makes his way over. Adam's now going to be stopped for autographs and all sorts as he heads to the left-hand side of shot there, just behind the podium, to get ready to collect his trophy. And now the hats are all given out, and the announcer will begin the podium presentation in just a moment's time. And there you go. Starting with the overall podium then. Third position in round 18 of the championship will be Jamie Anderson from the United Kingdom. And there you go, Jamie called up for his trophy. Another great result for Jamie in terms of his championship this season. That is podium number 3 for the British driver. It was wonderful to see him and his wife Ella and their newly born little one at Donington Park a few weeks ago. Steffi Halm gets her third podium also actually of the season, and taking his first and only win this season, as it's a race-by-race entry. Adam Lachko, all the fans very happy to see their home driver take to the top step. And here are the trophies handed out. Again, very unique trophies here at Most. Almost looks like my shower door with writing on it. But very pretty all the same. Steffi Halm happy for another bit of silverware or glassware. And then listen to the roar as Adam Lachko receives his trophy for winning round 18 of the championship. Great to see Adam's very, very smiley face back on the podium again. He's such a character. Really, really good bloke to have around. And now we'll get the national anthem of Czechia. And there you go, everybody. Adam Lachko, the winner of round 18 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Now they'll have their photos taken on the top step of the podium all together. And you can bet that the champagne spraying will be a little bit more active than it was in the first race, because they don't have another race today. They can dry out the overalls overnight. Whoa! Adam's bottle of champagne goes up very quickly, and it gets absolutely soaked by Steffi Halm and Jamie Anderson, as you would expect. Excellent stuff. Absolutely excellent stuff. Oh, there you go, Adam. Have some of that. I love champagne podium antics. It's so much fun. It really is. And a lot of the drivers in this championship, they all get on so well that it just becomes the epitome of just the happiness and the positive vibe that this championship brings with it. Norbert Kish then, well, he's on a bit of a positive vibe at the moment, isn't he? Right up there at the top of the championship now, and the gap to Jochen Hahn just gets bigger. Sasha Lenz scores pretty well in that one as well, and moves ahead of Antonio Albacete. Sorry, Antonio actually closing in on him, isn't he? With Jochen Hahn now a smaller gap ahead of Sasha. Apologies. Andre Kurzim now only 4 points clear of Steffi Halm, with Jamie Anderson in 7th right behind the pair of them. An interesting battle there developing for 5th place in the standings. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is 8th ahead of Lucas Hahn, who is now 1 point clear of Stefan Faas. Mark Taylor, unfortunately not taking part in that race after the incident, is in 11th ahead of John Newell and Adam Lachko in P13 with 13 points. Heinrich Clemens-Hecker next up ahead of Jonathan Andre and Louis Riquenco, with Erwin Klein-Nagelvort with just the 1 point to his name. I know nobody asked, but it's still absolutely bucketing it down here in the UK. It's got even heavier. It's been raining throughout the entire race, actually. So luckily the rain has held off from Autodrom Most for the time being and not affected our racing. It can be very exciting when it rains at Most, though. It really does throw up an interesting result. But we now go to the podium for the Promoters' Cup. Lucas Hahn in 3rd position. He won't be over the moon after the incident down at Turn 1. Him and his father running 2nd and 3rd. And unfortunately, going a little bit too hot into Turn 1 with potential contact. Saw contact between them two and then saw them off the road. Stefan Faas finishing 2nd in the Promoters' Cup, but back on the top step again is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. The young Portuguese driver has been a star in truck racing over the last few years, and his step up, not just to the top step, but also into this category here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, has been very, very impressive, it must be said. 3rd place trophy for Lucas Hahn. And a 2nd place trophy for Stefan Faas. And of course, the winning trophy going the way of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. And the national anthem of Portugal for our race. And now the drivers will have their pictures taken on the top step of the podium. And now it'll be time for champagne for our Promoters' Cup podium. And the bottles pop, champagne sprays. Lucas Hahn soaking just about everybody that he can. And Yoda Rodriguez, by the look of it, saving some for continue.
Lucky charm, you never know. Are you happy?
Yeah, very happy with this win in the Promoters Cup. It's good for me and my team. Some good points for the championship is most important for me.
So, will you party tonight, or are you looking forward to race tomorrow again and win more?
I am concentrated for tomorrow, and we'll see. But tonight is party in my trailer.
Okay, so congratulations. I will see you tomorrow again, hopefully. There are some highlights for you to just recap what has been going on at this race weekend.
Apologies, everybody. Another dropout there, I'm afraid, from the Most end of things. The connection dropping out briefly for just a moment. I was going on another UK.
This has been race. Okay, so this has been race number 2 for this weekend. 2 more to come, more qualifyings to come, so stay tuned. See you tomorrow and have a very lovely evening.